Hey guys, welcome back to another video, and today we're going to be reacting to the top 10 most expensive pets in the world. And yeah, let's get straight into the video and let's not waste any more time.
Not everybody is okay with giant snakes as pets, but if the idea doesn't make you squeamish, they're actually perfectly safe, most of the time.
What?
Thousands of pythons are sold in the US each year, and as hatchlings they're pretty cheap, anywhere from $20 to $100. But the lavender albino ball python is no ordinary snake. The product of a recessive gene, they carry highly unusual yellow markings and have startling red eyes. For decades, the lavender albino ball python was considered the most expensive pet in the world. Their rarity makes them worth a bundle, and online traders have been known to pull down up to $40,000 for the right specimen. Also, the African native requires a very
That's like a
specific
fucking
and carefully
car.
maintained habitat, which obviously will not come cheap. They look pretty freaky, but they're no more dangerous than any other large snake. That is to say, the danger is fairly negligible as long as you know what you're doing. Like all ball pythons, these reptiles can grow in excess of 8 feet in length and can absolutely injure or kill a human being if unattended or not handled properly.
Why the fuck would you buy a snake at that point?
When a lot of people think of exotic pets, the friendly chimpanzee would be the first thing that comes to mind. The intelligent, remarkably human-like creatures have endeared themselves to us through pop culture for decades. Who wouldn't want a chimp companion? Plus, like we mentioned before, the king of pop himself even had one. And if they're good enough for him, they should be good enough for anybody with way too much money and time on their hands. Well, if you're in the market for one, you'll first have to check to see if they're legal in your state. There are no federal regulations governing exotic pet ownership, but 19 states have outright bans on chimp ownership, including California and New York. Chimps are pets which will require highly specialized care, to say the least, and they can be dangerous if provoked or in certain situations. But if you've got the deep pockets to provide 4 pounds of food daily and maintain a habitat suitable for a primate, and your state gives you the green light, you can have your own chimpanzee pal for around $60,000. Just make sure you're in the relationship.
Bro, these are almost like luxury cars. I think a Tesla's 80 grand, right? One of these fucking things is worth a Tesla.
Opposite of a charming personality is more your speed.
A fucking beetle?
Stag beetle. You won't want to pet him much. They like to use those huge antler-like jaws to bite, and you'll only want one, unless you want them to fight to the death. In fact, stag beetle fighting as a competitive sport is popular in some parts of the world, which is part of what makes them so expensive. A prime specimen could potentially make its owner a lot of money, so there's something of a collector's item, and it's certainly not because they're cute and cuddly. Depending on the species, stag beetles can grow to between 2 and 5 inches in length. One in particular, Lycosnus cervus, is the largest terrestrial insect in Europe. If you're not the type to easily come down with a case of the heebie-jeebies, they are pretty cool looking, but one of these little critters can set you back up to $89,000.
That's worth more than a Tesla right there. What the fuck?
And buy a pet you can actually ride. Any equestrian will tell you that among horse breeds, the Arabian is king.
See, horses are a little more reasonable. I'd probably get that as an exotic pet instead of a fucking monkey or a beetle. I can step on it and not even realize I killed it.
Due to selective breeding, they possess all of the traits most valued in horses: friendliness and willingness to cooperate with people, high spirit and alertness, and body structure and muscle tone, which make the breed a paragon of athleticism. Because of these traits, Arabians are one of the most popular horse breeds in the world, dominating the sports of horse racing and endurance riding. Also, because of these traits, owning one will set you back a pretty penny. Despite a thriving market and strong demand all over the world, Arabians generally won't go for any less than a cool $100,000.
I guess that. Fuck, man. That's like almost a decent down payment on a house. Okay, these guys are fucking too loaded, bro.
And maintaining their health and keeping up with their feeding is
too loaded, man. Too loaded.
Of course, you might be able to offset the cost by winning the Kentucky Derby. Or if money is no object, just live out your Hollywood dreams by setting out on an endurance ride across the desert, like Viggo Mortensen in Hidalgo. Chances are you've never even seen a white lion up close, no matter how many zoos you've visited. That's because they're rare in the extreme. They weren't even spotted in the wild until 1938, and even then they were few and far between. Their pristine white color is due to a genetic mutation, a recessive gene that must be present in both mother and father. But oddly, white lions are not albinos. They're the product of a less severe mutation in the gene that causes albinism. White lions can be bred for captivity, but only through the use of inbreeding, which comes with a significant risk for other genetic problems, such as reduced fertility and physical defects. This is why they're so rarely seen in the zoo, and also why purchasing a cub will set you back more than your average high-end imported sports car. A single white lion cub can go for up to $140,000 if you can find one. And just in case you're curious,
140 grand for a fucking cat that's not gonna live longer than 50 years? Yeah, fuck off.
Yes, as to where you might be able to view one publicly, we've got you covered. If you're in Europe or Asia, you've got maybe a dozen options, including West Midlands Safari Park in the UK, Jerkazoo in France, and Bukit Gombong Safari Park in Malaysia. But if you're in North
but
America,
in Canada,
you've only got one, Toronto Zoo, where 4
Oh,
white
okay, that's
lion
not that
cubs
bad,
were born in
actually.
2015. This isn't a pet you can buy, because Sir Lancelot the Labrador, or more accurately Sir Lancelot Encore, is one of a kind. In 2008, Nina and Edgar Otto lost their beloved pup Sir Lancelot to cancer. Fortunately, Edgar is the son of legendary NASCAR co-founder Edward Otto, meaning that the couple had the spare cash lying around to attempt something only one other person yet
They
had,
fucking
bringing
cloned
their
it.
pet back to life through cloning.
Oh.
The attempt
Oh, yeah,
cost
so they
them a
did clone it.
whopping $155,000, but it
That's
was wildly
so
successful.
fucked.
It produced Sir Lancelot Encore, whom the couple says has the exact same personality and mannerisms as the original, and who has also managed to father no fewer than 8 puppies.
Wouldn't that be kind of very nice? Imagine you have a really close pet, and then it keeps the same characteristics it had in its past life. That's kind of interesting. So it's like, oh, that's
Lancelot was not the first pet to be successfully cloned. A Texas woman had previously paid $50,000 to clone her cat Little Nicky, but Lancelot, or Lancey for short, was the first cloned dog, and the Ottos couldn't be happier with him. The Morpho Aurora butterfly, which was found and sold by insect collector Antenna Inc., only qualifies loosely as a pet because it was dead and preserved when the sale was made. But it's a truly unique specimen, a bizarre aberration that will likely never be found again in our lifetimes. Native to Peru and Bolivia, the Morpho Aurora is a beautiful insect in its own right, smaller than North American butterflies with an amazing crystalline color pattern which identifies it immediately. But the specimen in question brought down the big bucks for one specific reason: an extra wing. Most butterflies have 4 wings. The Morpho Aurora specimen, sold to a private collector, had 5. The extra wing was just a tiny deformity, but it was enough to elevate the specimen into the realm of the exceedingly rare. It sold for an amazing $195,000.
So this pet doesn't even have to be alive. How's that a pet? It's fucking dead. Okay, that's ridiculous. It's like keeping a dead horse in your fucking barn. Doesn't work, mate. Doesn't work. Okay, well, I don't know. I feel like this would fall more into collection instead of pet, because it's not alive.
Presumably to the most insanely dedicated collector of butterflies the world has ever seen. The Holstein cow is the most prized breed, valued for their high milk production and docile temperament, and a cow named Missy is the queen of the breed. Due to her sterling genetic makeup, Missy was sold at auction in 2009 to a buyer in Denmark for an eye-popping $1.2 million.
Okay, so now let's take the cloning into this. Why don't you just start cloning these fucking? Why don't you clone the cows and sell them for the same price over and over? It's like a duplication glitch. Unlimited.
Making her the 5th cow ever to go for more than $1 million, and the most expensive cow ever sold. It wasn't for nothing. Missy went on to become the grand champion at the 2009 Western Fall National Show, the supreme grand champion of all breeds at the 2011 World Dairy Expo in Wisconsin,
What the fuck,
and the winner of that same title at the Royal Agricultural Winter Fair in Toronto that same year. She's also gone on to produce 4 offspring, all of whom are female, and whose genetic material is being used to improve the breeding and milk production of Holsteins all over the world.
Man,
the
put that
Tibetan
shit
Mastiff
away.
was originally bred to secure herds of livestock, and it's easy to see why. They're absolute monsters, easily outweighing the average human. But like most dogs, they're also genial and friendly. Purebred specimens are quite rare, and they've become the latest status symbol among the very rich. In 2009, a Chinese woman dropped $500,000 on one, and the very next year, another specimen was valued at $1.47 million. But in 2011, that record was edged out when a Chinese tycoon paid a cool $1.5 million for Big Splash, a 180-pound behemoth whose breeder called him a perfect specimen. Amazingly, Big Splash, whose Chinese name is Hong Dong, was only 11 months old when he was purchased, meaning he wasn't even finished growing yet. As of now, he's the most expensive dog ever sold, a record that can likely only
I would love to buy a dog, but just the hair, bro, would drive me fucking
be
crazy.
broken by another Mastiff. However, that probably won't happen anytime soon, as the breed is among the rarest on the planet. Since Big Splash found his new home 7 years ago, no pureblood Mastiffs have been sold on the open market. Green Monkey was a thoroughbred racehorse,
So it's still a horse.
descendant of legendary stallions
I don't
Northern
think that should
Dancer
count.
and Secretariat. As a 2-year-old colt, he was sold at auction in 2006 for the single highest price ever paid for a horse, an unbelievable $16 million.
That's a fucking
As incredibly
full-blown
steep
house.
as that price was, buyer Dean DiRenzo still thought he was in for a healthy profit. The horse had run an 8th mile in an absolutely blazing 9.8 seconds, and DiRenzo was all but certain that he had a star on his hands. Unfortunately, it was not to be. The horse only ran 3 races, winning none of them, before suffering a spine injury at Churchill Downs. Only 2 years after commanding that insane purchase price, Green Monkey was put out to stud on DiRenzo's farm. In May 2018, due to an ongoing battle with laminitis, he was euthanized, but his legacy lives on in the colts and fillies he sired. DiRenzo says there will never be another horse like him, and he may be right. At any rate, there will almost certainly never be one as expensive.
Well, if you guys enjoyed, leave a like, comment, subscribe, and let me know which pet you would get, and yeah, why. So yeah, I'll respond to everybody, by the way, and peace.